setting up the ground rules and then getting into the issues and reclarification of those issues and coming down up to, well, open-ended suggestions, you will find it very complicated as a mediator. So mediation does not only stop from one to one, like you and the parties. It could be one party could be a group of people. For example, when Kofi Annan was called to become a mediator after the elections of Kenya, we all know that many people have tried, but they have failed. And he was able to at least bring a peaceful settlement among both parties through mediation. So that tactfulness, that care, it's a skill that one will learn a long time in vis-a-vis with what legislation say, to develop the experience necessary in order to be able to settle.
How has the judiciary been supportive of ADR in this country?
Oh, yes.
I remember the former Chief Justice was very supportive. It was during his time that the Secretariat came about. How has the judiciary been supportive in making sure that people see ADR as an alternative to litigation?
Candidly speaking, well, both Chief Justices have been very supportive indeed. I remember my A.K. Savage, who's been my teacher in school.
You went together with him to California?
We went to California. That was what was funny, when we were, being prepared as mediators. He absolutely supported the ADR Secretariat in all aspects necessary to see to it that, well, mediation would at least be a way of settling most of the disputes that they will, be it commercial dispute, be it disputes of inheritance or employment, etc. So he's been very helpful. And then likewise, the present Chief Justice, he's been with us. We have conducted during my time about 8 sensitization, given a vigorous support and outstanding support by UNDP. But that could not have happened without the ground being built better. And it was built better by the government. They've seen that the political will was vividly expressed by government. And the government of the day was the one that dealt with this. They created this secretariat, at least enable us to link with the judiciary. And then the present Chief Justice was in fact present when we started our sensitization programs. One in the Greater Banjul area here, of which he was present. And he delivered a very important speech and gave us the lesson that, look here, let's be frank, in as much as litigation has gone up to the way that now they have got a problem, if you people to continue, those problems too would be encountered. He gave us, a very good advice for us to be much more focused in the way we'll deal with the, let's say, complaints coming in the office. And candidly speaking, they've been very helpful and encourage, they encourage the staff. So government supported us in building the capacity when I started of the staff, and then at the same time providing, let's say, all what was necessary. That means, making the strengthening the institution, and the institution was absolutely vigorous, and we were working so hard. But then, as time went by, we see that, well, definitely we could work with development partners too. So we work with the development partners, that is the UNDP, who stood tooth and nail in, furnishing the regional centers that were established.
Basse and
Farafenni. And they gave us 2 vehicles and 2 giant photocopiers and with backup generators. And they are right there. And they actually have done a great lot and, simplify the work
Would you vouch and say that there is more ADR in the rural areas as compared to the urban area?
Well, when we started even here in the urban area, the people who were coming, they were people from the rural
areas.
So it was called Access to Justice, the program itself. So people coming from the rural areas, you know, what saved them is when we started with these regional centers. We were advised by, just as when I was in the Ombudsman, we were advised by the President to start from Basse and then move downwards to areas where it is absolutely necessary. So we discovered that we could actually make a difference by developing that office as a, just as a test. And we've seen that people were coming more and more registering complaints of marriage, complaints of, let's say, commercial disputes, sometimes employment disputes, and land disputes. Most of them in the rural areas, there were land disputes.
Dr. Lowe, I'm sure there has been remarkable success at the ADR Secretariat, but I'm sure you would have wanted to see an ADR complex of its own, known as the Alternative Dispute Resolution Secretariat, where people will just say, yeah, that's the place.
I think that's a brilliant, comment that you made, a proposal even. We've been to different areas of West Africa and see what happened. But they have not got secretariats. What they have is inbuilt something or court-connected ADR. Even though we don't mean to say that the secretariat will stay on its own, we could be linking with the Ministry of Justice so that when people are not satisfied perhaps with what the ADR has done, they could go through the judges again, and then the judges will tell them that they have an opportunity to appeal, and still they have an opportunity to appeal. Now, having the complex setup, before before I left the office, I think it was already proposed that at the back part of at Marina Parade, they were going to build a secretariat in order to at least house the secretariat. And I think once they do that, it will help a great lot. One, in terms of cutting cost. Two, it will give the opportunity for the people to understand that, well, if they don't want to go to court, inside the courtroom, there is a mediation room there, of which people will be at least having the confidence to yield their views if at all they have a problem.
Have Gambians come to realize the importance of alternative dispute resolution and look at it as an alternative to litigation?
Yes, Gambian people actually, I must say, they have realized that this is something that they could greatly use. But what attracted me, what caught my attention from the very beginning is that the moment we started, the people who came most were employers. You could see that investors are now a bit some kind of worried of going to court. They prefer to at least deal with their disputes in a shorter time and get results. So when they heard about the ADR, most of them, they were coming and asking background information about the ADR. And they were very much impressed, because what they will tell us that in other countries, like most countries where they have had investment, they usually go to the secretariat rather than to litigation.
Doctor, one more question before I let go of you. Right now you are acting Dean of the Arts and Science at the University of the Gambia. New job, how do you fit in?
How do I fit in? Well, I am an assistant professor in political science, and I deal with different courses like industrial and labor management relations. That's one of the courses. And then I was a lecturer of international relations and foreign policy and diplomacy, any area of political science itself. But, well, I fit in